Love and Money Show with Summer and Jen. Hey, Jen.
Hey, how are you?
I am good. What a week we've had, huh?
Whew. Yes, we have. It started last week and it's still continuing to today. I am so freaking pumped up for this episode. Yeah.
I know. It is so exciting. We have so much that we've come into in regards to energy into this episode today. We had so much that went on last Friday that just pumped us up, inspired us, and kept this momentum going for us. So I had an event called Unstoppable. Jen was part of that event. She was a presenter and a partner. So it was phenomenal. We had some phenomenal speakers and presenters. You were one of those, Jen. So thank you so much for being a part of that. That was fantastic.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I'm still glowing from it. And I have to say, I'm just incredibly impressed because I've done a lot of events, a lot of telesummits, especially because everything's virtual now. And I have to say, your team, you, Shauna, Renee, you, Core Women and the Red Bra Project, amazing follow-up and just really supportive of the people involved and just following up with the people that supported the whole thing. It's just incredible. I'm like on this high and then like here we are today in our show and I'm so excited for the questions that we have.
Oh my gosh, me too. But I want to thank you again. I want to thank every single person who attended that event, that digital event. Thank you so much. All the presenters, thank you. All the partners, thank you. It was amazing. We had 13 partners. We had 4 presenters. We had an MC DJ, and it came off like amazingly.
It was so fun. I have to say, that was the thing too. It was fun.
It was fun. It was, and that's what we wanted. We really wanted to bring the energy. We wanted to pump you up. We wanted to pump up the situation, the event, and make it really high energy. And I think we achieved that goal. So, and we wanted you to walk away with holding on to something that was practical, that was strategic, that was financial, getting you ready for 2021. And I have to tell you, Jen, that your presentation helped people do that. It helped people think about their money and how they could become, create a relationship with their money to bring it into 2021 with some more thought and, some more strategy as to how they could like really look at their finances and really look at their mindset in relation to money. So thank you for that.
Thank you for having me be a part of it. It was such an incredible experience. Thank you.
Absolutely. So let's get to our first question.
Yes.
With your question, which is pretty cool. Okay, so it says, I am a pretty generous person and I love treating people to meals and buying gifts for others, but this is taking a huge toll on my ability to save money. How can I save, buy gifts, and keep my friends? Help. I don't know what to do.
Yeah. Thank you for this question, whoever submitted it. One of the things we have to ask ourselves first is, do you really have friends that you are worried about that you're going to lose because you don't get them a gift? You got a lot on your plate. You got a lot of things going on. It's like, okay, you're trying to buy gifts, you're trying to save, and it's creating this ball of stress that's really unnecessary. And it's not the time of the year. It doesn't even matter that it's, the holidays. You really shouldn't be experiencing this at all, no matter what time of the year. So I need you to take a step back and I need you to ask yourself, first off, is this an external factor? Is it really that you worry that you have friends that you're going to lose because you don't get them a gift? Or is it that you might perhaps be imposing that stress upon yourself? Because you got to think about this. You are worrying about all these things at the detriment of being unable to save. I mean, your responsibilities are not getting taken care of. And, if you've been following us, by the way, if you know somebody that could totally, I want you to hit that share button right now. Tag somebody, tag your friend, hit the share button right now. If you're watching this, #replay. Okay, because this, I'm telling you, I've been excited, but this one I'm really, really excited about because it's not just practicals and stuff. Like, this is stuff that really is very helpful for this time of the year.
Let me jump in here first. Yeah. This question has a lot of layers. It's got a lot of depth, and it is really exciting. So if you have somebody needs this information, needs to kind of think about, is it me? Is it something, as Jen said, external or something internal? Have them check out this episode. It's on our YouTube page. So make sure you head over to the Life, Love, and Money with Summer and Jen YouTube page. All right. Thanks, Jen.
And like and subscribe. Don't forget that. Don't just go there. I want you to like and subscribe and push the bell for notifications and all that good stuff. So with that said, one of the things, if you've been following us, we have talked to ad nauseum because it's that important. We have talked to ad nauseum about budgeting and saving. And again, I'm going to say it, values. You have to go back to your values and really analyze, okay, what is it that's important to me? Because my goodness, it almost breaks my heart when I read this question, because I'm thinking like, this poor person is thinking about all these things, stressed and worried about losing friends because if you possibly might not be able to get them a gift. It's like, listen, I want you to take a step back and really listen to what that sounds like. Are they really truly your friends? Are those the kind of people that you want in your environment, in your circle? And then it's to the detriment of you being able to save or not. Like, you shouldn't have to make a decision, keep my friends, save for my future, keep my friends and happy and not lose any of them. Or, hey, you know what? So I can't make an emergency fund. No, you shouldn't have to be placed into that situation where you're wondering that you have to pick and choose. So the thing is, when we talk about budget, and we've had many past episodes regarding budgeting, you need to also remember that saving is part of that. Saving is also like, you want to look at it like you're treating it like a bill, because it's a priority. That's why one of the number one rules is to pay yourself first. And saving is part of that, whether that is a short-term saving, a mid-term saving, a long-term saving. And when I say short-term, mid-term, long-term, what I'm talking about is 6 months or less, 1 year to 3 years, and 5 years and longer. It doesn't matter what the time frame is. What's important is that you got some savings goals that you want to hit. And now you're faced the situation where you don't know how you can make both happen. But here's the other thing too. I want you to really step back again, a lot of stepping back. I want you to ask yourself, is this perhaps a worthiness question? Do you really feel worthy of the money that's in your life, worthy of these friends? Because sometimes it's a deeper issue. A lot of times there's these psychological patterns, there's these issues or things that we grew up with. And it could easily sometimes be the fact that, I didn't have friends, but you might have this need or feel, and Dr. Summer can talk onto the, because this chick's got a PhD in psychology, okay? Because that's why I think I just absolutely love doing this with her, because you get the practical, we get the emotion, and this is not about numbers. This is why the Love, Life, and Money show is so important, because everything is so integrated. This is not like, okay, just do a budget, but there's emotional, there's subconscious stuff that's involved. And she brings in the psychology part. And so this is what's so important for you to understand. When you look at it, is it that maybe you might have grown up where you felt like, I didn't have any friends, and this might be the only way that you feel you can have them or earn them because you bought gifts. I'm not saying that's not the case, but I want you to ask yourself, and it could be anybody that's listening. It could be the case where you're thinking about, and might not even be conscious. That's the crazy part. You might not even be consciously aware of it. And then you have to realize, like, wait a minute, maybe I am doing that. Maybe that's what's happening here. Because really, if you have to buy your friends, or the fact that you are even worried that you might lose them, is not a good place. For me personally, one of the biggest things that I had to do this year was to release certain friendships, to release certain people from my life, because it wasn't serving me. It was causing me some undue stress. But what really it comes down to is you have to make that choice. You have to make that choice if these relationships, and I'm not talking romantic, it could be romantic or platonic or just your friends. You have to make that choice of whether that situation, that relationship is still serving you. But the thing that is, like, it could be that you have friends that may be creating that external stress. But on the other hand, it could be you. And you need to ask yourself if that's the situation. If that is what is going on, then you need to ask yourself, do I really want these people in my circle? Because at the end of the day, it's affecting your money. There shouldn't be this choice of whether you keep friends or work towards your financial goals. All of it's important, but it could come down to like, you know what? This is no longer serving me. This is causing me stress. I don't want to live like this anymore. I want to live in abundance. I want to feel free. I want to feel like I'm enjoying life and not like I got to worry about all this stuff.
Right. Oh, such great points, Jen. And it is true. You have to take a step back and think, is this something external or internal? Is this some kind of stressor that I'm placing on myself? Because at the end of the day, it's all a choice. It's a choice what you're allowing in your life. It's a choice about the decisions that you're making. It's a choice to save your money. It's a choice to give gifts. All of those are choices. And all of us have feelings about, how am I going to be perceived if I don't give a gift? How am I going to be perceived if I put myself first? Well, really, fill that cup. Fill that cup first. Then you've got more to give. You've got more to give. So it's all about planning. So let me ask you this, Jen, because I think this is really critical too. When we talk about giving gifts, there is a way of doing that. You can plan for that, correct? So, yes. Okay. So why don't we talk a little bit more about that, about, if in fact you want to give a gift to your children, to your significant others, because right now is a really interesting time for us in the United States. The number of people that are out of work, that are out of jobs, out of their homes is significant, yet they still care about their kids and they still potentially want to give them something. What are some alternatives? What are some things that we can teach through such a difficult and challenging time? And even if we weren't in COVID, what are some of the lessons that we can learn about gift giving and money and how we spend it?
Oh my gosh, what a great, excuse me, what a great question. Yeah, exactly. We are in this weird time, but regardless of whether we're in COVID or not, and the reason why we bring up COVID is because it has dramatically affected the financial stability and situation of several thousands of families across the nation. And so if you're in a situation where you don't have as much money and it's a choice of like, how am I going to get food on the table? Well, how can I buy gifts? I know that that's a very difficult position to be in, and I empathize, because it's not, it's very difficult to want to do everything, but you just can't. So I want you to go back to your values, and I want you to think about what's important to you. And so one of the things that Dr. Summer and I had talked about earlier, in fact, when we were on Instagram, was that think about what are the best memories you had as a child. And I think as a family, this is a perfect opportunity if you are in the situation where you just cannot get gifts. A lot of times what I see is that we as adults, we as parents, we are the ones creating the stress. We have this conversation in our head that we have to get these gifts. We have to. But have you ever asked yourself why? Why do you have to? I think we've lost the point of the whole thing sometimes. I think we get caught up in a lot of these things. And so I need you to all ask yourself, like, well, why are you feeling the need to have to get something? Well, I have to get something, but I never heard the why. And I'm going to tell you as a side note, I don't get caught up in the stress. I have not been stressed about the holidays for, I don't even remember, years, because I don't allow myself to partake in the madness. So when people have asked me like, have you done your shopping? Have you done this? I'm like, I don't even get involved. I really don't. Like, I chose not to get involved. I don't partake in the madness, because why?
Right.
Who is asking you?
Yeah.
Asking you to do it.
So funny, Jen, because there was one time, what do they call that? The Thursday, after Thanksgiving, the third.
Oh, Black Friday?
Yeah, Black Friday.
Yeah, I didn't partake in that. Yeah, but yes.
Oh my gosh. So only one time did I partake in that. And I thought, okay, I want to do this just to experience what this is like.
What is this madness about?
What is madness? I was like, why? Why do people do this? Oh my gosh. I can't do it. I can't. Women had handbags like all lined up on their arms. And I'm like, okay, we talked about last week, and here's something else. We talked about debt after the holidays. we talked about gift giving and debt and what that looks like. So if you want to check that episode out, check it out on our YouTube page, because it's so important that we think about what are we going to be left with, even if we buy all these gifts, what kind of expenses, what kind of bills are we going to be left with after the fact? Huge.
Oh my gosh. Yes, exactly. And that's the crazy part, because if you have friends, going back to the question,
yes,
if you absolutely. have friends that are not even the ones giving you this stress, but it's really you, right? Why are you even doing it? Because at the core of it, you are the one that has the power and the ability to say no.
Right.
You can easily say, no, I'm not going to get involved with this. But, let's go back to, we can easily go off on tangents. So let's go back to like, well, what can I do? Okay, Jen, can you just go back to like, what can I do? So keep it simple. I think this is a perfect opportunity to have conversation. If you are in a situation where there is very little resource and you are having to choose between food or buying gifts, and it's that bad. And maybe it might not be that bad, but you get the point. What I'm saying is this is a perfect opportunity to sit your family down and explain like, hey, this is the situation. Here's the thing. In my money coaching, people have developed these setbacks and these subconscious patterns and all these different things because they recall that their parents didn't talk about money. They recall that they just witnessed things happening, but they didn't quite understand it. And now they're dealing with it 20, 30 years down the road. Don't do that to your kids. Do not do that to your kids. I'm telling you, the best gift that you can give them is the time to sit them down and say, hey, this is what's going on. They will appreciate that. They're not going to come to me when I'm like 80 years old telling them like, hey, you know what? This is what you were dealing with. And then your parents didn't want to tell you they were struggling. We don't want all that mess. Be open to tell them, hey, this is the situation, because then they will understand why is there struggle. And then the lesson that they will learn from it, but you know what? We still stay together as a family. And talking about simple things that you can do, you can just simply sit down. I mean, I love that people do this during Thanksgiving. You just have a simple meal and just spend time with each other. It doesn't cost, maybe the cost of the food, food, I get it. It costs money, but having like this gratitude circle where you say to each family member, this is what I love about you. This is what I appreciate about you. I'm telling you, that is going to go so much further than the toy that you bought them on sale because you were able to scrounge up $10 that they're going to play for 20 minutes.
Right.
And they're done with it. They are going to remember those moments that you invested in them. You invested in developing and nurturing the relationship with them as children, as between child and parent. That's going to go so much further. I promise you, if you do that, that's free. It only requires the investment of your time. And so there are so many simple things you can do, because at the end of the day, really, what is it going to be that you found 20, $15 to just buy something to serve? Well, I just want, I want to be able to give some. Why? You're wasting money. Yeah. Be creative and keep it simple. And the gift of time and attention is priceless.
Oh, absolutely. I love that. You talked about so many things here. You talked about communication, communicating with your family, communicating even with your friends if you feel the need to, because again, it's about relationship. It's not about the material items. It's about you came into that relationship because something attracted you to your friend, to your partner, to your whatever. It's about the relationship. It's about creating memories. So memories are so much more long lasting than gifts. Oh my gosh.
Yes.
So it's like, well, they're a memory, of course. So let me give you an example. So my grandparents did not make a whole lot of money, my paternal grandparents, and yet they had a home, they had cars, they could pay their bills. And the memories that I created with them, that they created with me, was about time, effort, and energy. So my grandfather one time would take us on a walk down the block, he would take us to Thrifty's, buy us a 10, 15 cent ice cream cone from Thrifty's. And my gosh, I remember that more than I do any gift that they bought me during Christmas. However, as much as I appreciated that I also appreciated the memories they made with me. So
perfect example. 15 cents. 15 cents from so long ago. And that's the one thing you remember. Perfect example. Thank you.
The time that he took to walk with us, to get outside of the house, to walk with us and just spend time with us. And that was so cool. I thought, wow, what? I don't know. I don't know. I thought, wow, amazing that he was able to spend that time, that he liked spending time with his grandkids.
Yeah, I love that you say that, because it brings it back to keep it simple. Your kids are not expecting complicated. I think we as adults, we get jaded and we get caught up in so many things. We are the ones that forget that that's not what's important. Your children are looking for you. They're looking to have that time with you. And we're the ones that need to remember to go back to that simplicity.
Absolutely. And even your friends, it's about spending time with each other. And although we're in COVID and, things have changed significantly, you can still get creative about how you can spend time with each other. Go and walk at a distance in a park, go and have a Zoom, celebration. Go have a Zoom if you're celebrating Christmas, if you're celebrating Hanukkah, if you're celebrating, Kwanzaa, whatever you're celebrating, you can get creative about how you can do that from a distance as well. And it's about the time and the memories that you're making. So let's move on to the second question, shall we? Uh-oh, it looks like I have potentially lost Jen.
Oh, no, we're here. We're here.
Okay, great. You want to move on to the second question? Are we ready?
Yes.
Okay, great. All right. So the second question is, my husband has a job that involves a lot of travel. Should I trust him when he is away so often? Okay, so we're going deep really fast from the get-go. So this is a trust question, but this is also a relationship issue. This is a job travel issue. And I'm going to address some of the basics here for a second, because I think this also establishes a foundation for nurturing. So I'm going to first pose some questions to you, the viewers. And I'm going to pose this. How do you define trust? How do you define trust in your relationships? How have you established trust in your relationship? Have you nurtured your relationship? How do you nurture your relationship? What can you do to support the relationship when you are apart? So, considering this question has to do with the job, it would appear that the travel is necessary. So the job and the travel together are necessary. So what I would suggest is some of the things to set the foundation to really make those folks, both your partner and the person at home, feel nurtured is set up some constructs of safety, emergency, understand your emergency contacts, make sure that your roadside assistance is up to date, make sure that you know who to call if you've lost your key, if your neighbor, give a key to a neighbor. These are all things that you can do to help set up just your safety, just the nurturing of the relationship, just the understanding that each person is going to be okay as much as we can plan for when we're apart. So that is number one. These are the practical aspects of if somebody has to be away and they work and travel for their job, what are the preventative measures that you can put in place when your partner travels? Again, emergency contacts, a key to the neighbor, roadside assistance is up to date. The next factor is, how do you both nurture the relationship when you are apart? How do you communicate or stay connected with each other? There are so many ways to be able to do that today. My gosh, way back in the day, it was a phone call. It was like you had to be near your phone. Today, that is not the case. You can FaceTime, you can Skype, you can DM, you can use WhatsApp, you can, just DM based on your contact list from your phone, voice and text messages. There are so many ways to feel connected. And there's some special gestures too. You can leave notes for each other. So for instance, if you're planning effectively and you want to make that person at home feel nurtured, or even the person that had to go away on their job, hide something in their suitcase. Say, hey, babe, you know what? I hid something in your suitcase. Go take a look. There's a little note for you. Or, hey, babe, at home, the person at home, I have, put something under your pillow. Go check it out. It's a little note, or a little, maybe a little piece of chocolate, or a little something where it's just something special that they kind of go, oh my gosh, they thought in advance. This is so, heartfelt.
Oh my God, it is so huge. I just want to pause you real quick. I have been that person that I love leaving those little notes. Like, it is fun. It
is so much fun.
Because here's the thing. Once you're gone already and they find it, think about it. That person the person that traveled or whichever position you're in, they realize like, wow, they actually had to put thought into this and plan this.
Yes.
That goes so deep and far because you are showing so much effort that you did that. And there's so many good nuggets. Let me shut up and go ahead. You go ahead.
Okay, no, that's all great. Because we all experience, separation in a different way, and we experience trust in a different way. But the bottom line is, you can set up these practical measures. And I address this first because it really does have to do with the question of job separation travel. And so I wanted to set this up as a practical, some practical steps you could take to really help prior to the travel, nurture the people that are being separated, the couple. So get creative, leave the notes, make sure your emergency plan is in action. So always think about how you can get creative. Also, one thing about being creative and what you could potentially do is also send pictures. Get that person involved in that experience. So if they're eating somewhere new, send a picture of your food or send a picture of the menu and maybe like, hey, we need to revisit this place at some point when I'm not working. Or you could also potentially set up, yourself where both of you going together on the next trip, the job related trip, which is always fun as well. Now I'm going to get into some of the other aspects, the emotional aspects, because it does, when you are apart, sometimes it does create loneliness. And what happens in some instances, like for me, it wasn't like, oh, there's a blame game. Oh, you got to go away for your job. It was more like, I forgot, like even to ask him like where he's going.
Yeah.
or maybe, oh, like, how long are you going to be away? I ended up having to put these things on my calendar because my husband travels quite a bit, right? Prior to COVID. And so it's like, I would forget these things and he'd be like, you don't even know, you're not even paying attention. And I'm like, I do care. It's just, it becomes so much for me to remember my schedule, his schedule. So to put it on the schedule was really important. So the loneliness, I'm going back to this, the loneliness, there is loneliness when being apart. And what you don't want to do is you don't want to play the guilt or blame game. Like, oh my gosh, you're gone again. Oh my goodness, you get to eat there, or you get to do this, or you're spending this money, or your job gives you, or exhausting.
Oh my goodness. Let's pause on this one. This is huge. I didn't hear this one last time. This is a good one. We'll bring this up for the last stint we did. Okay, let me just sidebar here. Because I have been in, I've had friends that were in situations that were the traveling person, and then they told me about what their partner is. Let me tell you something. This is so huge.
Yeah.
Do not be this person she's describing, because if you're already worried about trust factors, you are pushing your partner away. You're going to make them not want to come back to you, because here's the thing. When you get in the way of somebody making their money or their paper, it is not cool. They're trying to focus on their job to build a life with you and bring in income, come back to you. And all you're doing is complaining and blaming and making that person should be away, guilt-free, stress-free, knowing that things are taken care of and that they can go and focus on their job and not have to worry about, like, my gosh, my partner, spouse is 500 miles away. We're arguing. I had an incident with this, not me personally, but somebody complaining about this. And I was just like, man, you keep this up, that you are going to cheat on you. Can't.
Okay. Let me jump in here. Yeah. Okay. So there's another aspect to this, and I'm going layer by layer by layer. We're getting deep from the get-go here because I'm trying to set this up in practical. So we got practical stuff that we're talking about in regards to how we can nurture each other prior to the travel. Then we've got, what we can do when we're gone. The second thing is the feelings and addressing the emotion. And here you are, where you're saying, we're the blame game, the guilt, the this, the that. And sometimes that happens. And that's when you start taking a deeper step back, or a step back and saying, where's this coming from? Why am I feeling this way? I do want you to be able to communicate that with your partner without the blame or the guilt. With saying, I'm feeling this way. It could be because potentially something happened in the relationship which caused a distrust. Everybody's factors are different. It could be how you were raised and what you saw between maybe your parents or what your parents or caregivers were doing in regards to their relationships. It could be that maybe you did something in relation to a previous relationship where you don't trust yourself. So there are multiple ways of looking at this in relation to how do you dress your own trust, because the bottom line here is your value. What value you put into this relationship, how you're going to work towards this relationship, and where these feelings are coming from. And so that's when I say we are now transitioning out of just the job and the travel. We're getting deeper into the issues of trust. And so that's where I would say this is a coaching program and we're going to give you strategy to work on A, B, or C. But when you start taking a deeper dive into where is my issues of trust coming from, that is a counseling issue. And that's where we draw the line between, hey, this is coaching, this is counseling. Now, if you need that additional support, seek that additional support, because that's very important. So this doesn't have to, this travel and a job doesn't have to always be chaotic. There are ways that you can set this up that it feels good. It feels natural. It feels like this is what's supposed to be happening. This is, going to help us create a solid foundation for our relationship. Also, our bank account and our goals. So you can think of it practically like that. And you also need to incorporate, hey, somebody might be having these emotions about A, B, or C, and address those and have that open communication. But if it starts getting deeper and deeper and deeper into, I still don't trust, then that might be a need for additional support. So, and you might need to question, like, where are these feelings coming from? And I think that's really important. So this is such a layered question, and we can go really deep. And we've already gone over our 30 minutes today, but I love this question because it is so deep. And I had addressed something on the other show that we just did about being a military spouse and being separated from my husband for almost a year. And how we set that up and how we were able to communicate while he was at war and I was in a foreign country. And I thought we both felt like we were pulling duty in different places, but how did we set up communication to be separated for an entire year almost? And lots of people have to do that. Lots of military spouses have to do that. And one of the key points was the practical expectations that we had of, the situation in relation to setting up a will, setting up our emergency plan, making sure that the neighbors were aware that we might need their additional support, making sure our friends knew. And they came, and the group and the people that came to support me and my husband as I did them, it was incredible. So there's a lot of different ways that you can handle the practical aspects of travel and separation, as well as the emotional aspects of travel and separation in relation to communication, in relation to a game plan, in relation to just being open and making it a creative experience where each person is involved. So.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, this is why I'm so excited about this episode, because like you said, I think the perfect word that you use, it's very layered. And I mean, what better person than for you to talk about this, because you are a military spouse.
That too, yeah.
Yeah, and I love that you shared that. Thank you for sharing that, because one of the things I think is so key to take away from this is that because you guys were so smart about taking care of the logistics and the practicals, I want to say, did you feel safe? Did you feel?
I absolutely felt safe. And it's really interesting. And thank you for asking that question, Jen, because I actually didn't live on a base at the time in Okinawa, Japan, a little island off of Japan, mainland Japan. I lived in town with the locals. So my neighbors were phenomenal. I loved my neighbors. I had a second set of Okinawan parents that I could just go to. They came to me if there was a typhoon, because we had typhoons in Japan. They would come over and say, hey, we need to help you do A, B, and C and get ready for this.
Oh my God.
There was so much going on and so much that we had to juggle that, yeah, I mean, I really felt very secure and very safe. And that's because we set up a lot of things and put things in place for us to nurture the relationship, whether we were apart or together.
Yeah, which is a great segue for me to say this. You might think that a living trust and a will and emergency fund are not sexy, but it builds trust and it allows the other partner to feel safe and secure. And then
Yes.
you're not having this. I mean, look at them. Her husband travels a lot. And so it's like, but seeing them as a testimonial to like, when you set these things up, she feels good. So she's not going through this conversation in her head, experiencing these doubts and these fears. So this is why it's so important. This is what we talk about on the Life, Love, and Money show, is like, how do these real practical things, and what do they have to do with emotions and all this subconscious stuff in psychology? So I hope you guys got a lot out of that, because that was an amazing thing that you taught us.
Oh, thank you so much. And now we are going to do our nugget of the day.
Gosh, you did it. Let me play it. I'm tripping that you had the sound effect. I'm like, yes.
I had to do it.
Yeah. So she has these sound. Let me tell you why we're laughing. She had these sound effects and she hasn't used it, and she finally did. So we're giggling.
Oh my goodness. I didn't use the app. I actually found this little xylophone the other day. I was like,
okay, that's why she used it, because it was a real thing. Okay, I don't care. You used it. Okay.
Because I'm watching us on Twitter. I'm watching us on Facebook. I'm watching us on, so I want to make sure that I see all this. So if I use the app, then I got to use my phone. So anyway, your nugget of the day.
Yeah, my nugget of the day is, I want you all to just give yourself 5 minutes. Take a deep breath. And I want you to just give yourself that time to really think about what's important. Because so often during this time of the year, you're getting caught up in the commercialism of everything. Is that a word? The consumerism, everything. And it's causing, I see it every year. People are stressed. It's not necessary. You have the choice and the ability to say, no, I choose not to partake in all that madness. And I want you to just sit down and get real with yourself. Like, you know what? How do I want to go into 2021? How do I want to show up? How can I eliminate some things out of my life so that I can breathe? And I think it's important for you to do that, because so many of us don't do that. I had to get really diligent about practicing this every day when I pray and meditate every morning. And I'm telling you, there's like an immense amount of stress that's just lifted because you're grounding yourself every single day. So I want you guys to give yourself that gift to just breathe and ask yourself, do I really need to? Because it's not the external environment and factors that's causing it. Sometimes it's you imposing it on yourself. And so I want you to reflect on that. How about you?
Thank you. Give back to community. I know Jen said take a breath, take some time for yourself, but I'm saying give back to community. Find something you're passionate about and figure out a way that you can give back, such as mentorship, volunteerism. Do something to give back. It's so important that we raise community up during this time throughout the year. It's not just about the holiday season and the spirit that we have right now. Take that spirit and live with that spirit all around the year, just because it's so important to give back. And I really feel that that's something I value. I truly value and hold dear in my heart and in my soul, is that giving back is just so key. Raising community up and inspiring and empowering is just so important to me.
Oh, I love it. I think that's really important. It really raises a different level of gratitude within you. You just get really centered, and you realize at that point when you're giving back that, oh my gosh, this is so much bigger than me.
And it doesn't have to be a gift. It's time, effort, and energy. Time, effort, and energy. And let me tell you, time is valuable.
Oh, yes. Yes.
With that said, those are our nuggets, and we want to thank you. And by the way, let's tell them about next week and the following week, Jen.
Absolutely. So because of the holiday, we know you're probably going to be busy with your family. Again, you heard what we talked about that. So we're going to be moving our show for the next 2 weeks to Wednesday, same time, 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, or I'm sorry, 11:45 on this platform, to or 2:45 Eastern, on moving it to Wednesday. So same time, just moving it to Wednesday, because then the next couple of weeks it's going to be falling on Christmas and Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve. So, I know y'all don't want to come in and listen to, unless you do. You're true diehard fans.
We love you. We love you. And remember, go to our YouTube page, subscribe, like, follow, and also DM us your questions. We want to answer your questions. So we got to run, folks. We are 41 minutes into this. This is a free coaching. DM us your coaching questions. DM the questions that you want us to answer, because we want to answer those questions for you. Are you ready to go, Jen?
I am. So thank you, everyone, for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching the Life, Love, and Money Show with Summer and Jen. Dr. Summer Watson is the owner of the production and coaching company Core Women, LLC, is a doctor of psychology, has a depth of experience working in both for-profit and nonprofit in human services and mental health, is a professional coach, seminar host, documentary film producer, and an author. Jen Fontania is a former financial advisor and now a certified money coach, speaker, and has published 6 books. She has worked with organizations such as the Walt Disney Company, Warner Brothers, Target, Goodwill, and the U.S. Air Force. She loves working with women and helps them master their money and mindset to empower them to build the ultimate life without worrying about money. Join Summer and Jen every week as they go live on the Life, Love, and Money Show on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and LinkedIn.